For people who haven't been doing this for a long period of time, like imagine me, 15 years ago, in my young 20s, coming out straight into business. I probably actually just before 20. Like, how can somebody get better at like reading these financial reports? Like, is this just hey, Matt, I got no idea how to read out of an Excel file. Can you just give me the one figure that I care about? Or like, how can someone just understand how to read these things?
By asking the question. And, as the saying goes, your outcome of your life is determined by the questions you ask. So if you don't know, don't be afraid to ask. Ask an accountant, ask a bookkeeper, ask me. Like I have clients who have been previous clients of mine as auditing clients still call me and ask me questions. Now, I don't get any money from them, but I help them because that's just my nature. I help people. But you need to learn what each section of the balance sheet, each section of the profit loss, and each section of the cash flow is. Now, you can't learn it all in one. You can't, there's so much information in those 3 reports that you could spend weeks and weeks looking at it. But if you understand one section this month, one section the next month, and as a business owner, let's say you come to me and say, Matt, I want to know what this figure means. Well, we can do that in your reporting each month and say, hey, this is what this figure means. This is how it relates to all the other figures.
Do you know what helped me the most with learning how to read financial reports?
The missus.
Actually, do you know what? I will give it a position 1. I will. So apart from that, like I remember the one that got me was the balance sheet. That's the one that like rocked me. Like a P&L, I think conceptually is easy to understand. Even a cash flow report conceptually is easy to understand. But the balance sheet, I'm sitting at this thing and I'm looking at it and I'm like, I cannot work out how to like actually turn this into like useful information for me at all. I feel like it's looking at a random set of numbers on a screen. And the number one thing that helped me was comparing it to the previous month. What was really fascinating is that the idea if I got, let's say I got the last 6 months and I had every one of them and like I knew what had happened inside my business in those months. And then being able to go, oh, when the business is running like this, that report looks like that. And when it's running, and I did this differently the next month and it started to run like that, it really helped me kind of like unpack the idea of like, it's being able to translate the differential between those reports by comparing it to other months. Like if I'm behaving like this, the report looks like that. In the following month, well, this is what we did differently and now the report looks like that. I started to be able to like translate numbers into activities or how the decisions I'm making in my business are actually translating to what the reports look like. So it turns out if I fire all my staff, I look really profitable. Of course, no, I joke. Or if it's
completely unsustainable, but sure.
Yeah, well, do you know that was actually one of the interesting insights is like I had a few months where profit was really high, but I was very tired because I was working a lot of hours.
Yeah.
And then when I started hiring people, it was like, oh, I got my time back, but my profit went down a bit. And it's like, was this inverse relationship? And I know it sounds very logical on surface, but I don't think a lot of people are prepared for that at times.
I agree. It was interesting. As a business owner, that's so like non-intuitive to go and look over sort of the trends and what's happened in the past and things like that. Like it is a valuable insight to actually go, well, great. I can look at the last 6 months and do all of those things. One of the best sort of tips that I can tell people is like, I love booking in a conversation with a bookkeeper. And Matty, I love how you said every single month. Why? Because do you really think that many of the business owners listening to this will sit down by themselves for like an hour, 2 hours religiously every month to actually look at these, but ask themselves those questions, Charlie, of going, I'm looking at a balance sheet. What would it look like if I compared it to the last 6 months? No. And this is where like talking to someone like Matt, where you're like, okay, will you walk me through to educate me on some of these things? Hey, fellow business owner, if this topic and value-packed short video has resonated with you at all, and you want to dive deeper into being a full stack business owner, check out the full episode by clicking the link on your screen or in the description right now.